Good view up there.
From the Birkenhead bus station, we went to this Bell Café. Cafe we've not been to before. We've not really been to many cafes in Birkenhead. We tend to go to Liverpool. We had Herbal, it was banging, and then we got to the Priory. So I'll tell you a little bit about it, just from what I know. I don't actually know any of this. I'm just going to look on the internet. But there is a very posh lady that just starts to give us a bit of a tour as we get sort of into the main bit. But it was founded in 1150. That's absolutely ages ago, by someone called Hamno de Massey. I think I've butchered that name. But it's the oldest standing building in Merseyside, and it served as a Benedictine monastery for nearly 400 years. Localised in the Wirral, this site features the remains of the medieval priory, a consecrated chapter house, and the 19th century St Mary's Tower, offering free admission to visitors. So it's well worth a visit if you don't like spending money. Like we don't. Well, we like spending money, but if you can get something for free, you can. So if you've got a family and a bunch of kids and they want to do something educational and you just think, oh, well, I don't really want to spend anything, or I'd rather not spend anything, you can come here. Obviously, they accept donations. Obviously, they do. And if you can afford to do that, that's fantastic. But if you want a free day out, come here. I'll let this woman start talking now because she knows a lot more about this than I do. Here you go. And she's got a very posh voice.
Monks in the room above us, beautiful room, the refectory, where they would eat twice a day, and serve to the travellers in their hostel. The travellers weren't charged for either accommodation, for meals or for travel, until the middle of the 14th century, when it was formalised by royal charters. But before that, they were encouraged, shall we say, to make generous donations, because I think the monks would have various ways of encouraging them. And also you would be generous because travelling over water is immensely dangerous. And if you've just arrived in the opposite direction, be so blinking pleased to have made it.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely be generous.
Yeah.
This building here with the pale roof is no longer standing, but it contained on the ground floor the infirmary.
Oh, right.
They were herbalists, and that was the medicine of the day, and over it was the monks' dormitory, so not the happiest combination. The infirmary, probably the busiest part when you think about it, because whichever direction travellers are coming in, they're going to make a beeline because there's no health service.
Yeah.
And you've got the community already here, and you've got the people building the priory, the stonemasons, the farmhands, the woodsmen, you name it, all sorts of people, all sorts of problems. The building that is next to it remains intact, and on the ground floor it's the chapter house, where the monks would have gone every day, as they still do in Benedictine houses, to read from the Rood of St Benedict. But when you go in, you will see that it's now a chapel. Now, it's been a chapel since the dissolution of the monasteries under Henry VIII, which happened here in 1536. And at some point thereafter, the Priory Church was made unusable, probably to get at the stonework, because this is a low-value site and the stone's really valuable. The chapter house was consecrated as a chapel.
Right.
It remained a chapel all the way through until 1821, when Birkenhead's population had expanded out of sight. It was 110 people living here in 1801, and more than 110,000 people living here by 1901.
Wow.
So that's when the town was developed. And St Mary's Church with the bell tower that we mentioned before is what remains of that church, which could accommodate 1,000 people for every sitting. When that church was closed and earmarked for demolition and subsequently demolished, the chapter house was reconsecrated. It's still consecrated, and we have a vicar. So there's been worship on this site under...
You can get married as well at the site?
Only if you comply with an enormously long list of very tough regulations.
I can imagine, yeah.
So
What we're doing that then?
I think last year we might have had 2.
Oh, wow.
Some years we go staggeringly big and get to 3. But it's rare, because otherwise we'd become a wedding venue.
Yeah, well, you don't want that.
No,
Because it's scheduled ancient
Yeah.
monument, and we're more important than that.
Looks massive. It's looking down the end. No, it's try this one. That looks like that's too tall. Yeah, it feels massive. Then you put that one on. That feels sure nice.
Like it? Will you get it tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's this, a pole plant?
Yeah. I don't think you should put that on.
No. Oh, it doesn't fit.
It does.
Does not.
It's like pitch on top of your head.
Mm.
You know, let me try it. It's too big, it's too small.
Must have had small heads back then.
Oh, look at this arm there. I know it's not from Dad's army, don't I?
Yeah. You alright? Just put your hand on the middle of it there. Once we'd made our way down the steps, we then went back outside and made our way over to this St Mary's Chapel. So this bit is, a lot of it is dedicated to this HMS Thetis, which is something I didn't know about. So HMS Thetis was a British T-class submarine tragically associated with one of the worst peacetime submarine disasters in Royal Naval history, apparently. In 1939, on the 1st of June 39, during the sea trials at Liverpool Bay, water flooded the torpedo tubes after a test procedure went wrong. Submarine sank with 103 people aboard, crew, shipyard workers and observers. Only 4 men survived after escaping through the emergency escape chamber. 99 people died, and making it Britain's worst submarine accident in peacetime. So it was horrific, if you want to read about that. And all these books in here, all these, as you saw, the names or the placards, they're all dedicated. There's a lot of placards about other things as well, but there's a lot of things, some tragedies there about some children. There's quite a lot to learn. But as you see up the banister there, every single plaque is a name of somebody that died and drowned in there. So quite grim, but again, important history to learn about. And like I say, if you've got a family and you just want to get your kids to learn a little bit about the area, it's quite a good day out. These steps here, again, this steel structure, I don't know what was here before. Obviously, it wasn't this steel structure. They kept the bell mechanism, the pendulum and all that, and the bell at the top, and some sort of clockwork But from the outside, it doesn't look particularly just like a normal standard sized church, but the steps went up and up and up forever. And again, the banisters at the side, every single name, obviously didn't read every name, but every single one of those names impacted a family. And it's just the fact that it was just a test. There's some mechanism left over from the original clock. So we're very close to the top now, very close to the bell, but the steps just keep on going. And we get a good, again, more names on the banister there. We get a good vantage point over the sort of dry dock, because again, there's ships all around in this. It's weird because you've got this medieval area from 11 feet, like over 800 years old. I just switched to the iPhone, I think, now, and get a good view of the dry dock out there. And you can just see it there where they bring ships and subs in to sort of service them and work on them. There is a ship in there onto the side there. That's the line one, which we'll see when we get out finally. We're still not quite at the top yet, but we're not far off, believe it or not. I should have counted the steps, because you look at these massive cathedrals, you think, oh, they're huge towers, and they're absolutely massive. When you think of a standard church, you think, oh, this is nothing really, but no, it's pretty damn tall. You felt high when you're up there, so looking down the middle, you couldn't really see the bottom. There's the bell, the original bell, I presume. And then we venture outside and we get a good look at the view. Now, it's not the best day. It's very windy. This is why I decided to cut the audio. It's very blustery. It was very sort of thing. There's a massive ship there getting worked on. Stena Line, like cruise ship. Now, the skyline here, again, I switched to the iPhone to get a bit zoomed in. It's really, really impressive. It just look on a sunset or a sunrise, it'd be amazing. But on the immediate left there, I think you've got one of the vents for the tunnel on the immediate left. Got the skyline of Liverpool. The Liver buildings are in the middle there now. You got the Radio City Tower that's just coming to view on the right. I think you get the Anglican Cathedral as well, which was, yes, that's coming to view now. That's got the highest bell in the country, I think, from all cathedrals. So if you know your Liverpool skyline, it's quite a good place to spot it. There's the ship, and this is that, I forget the name of this place where they look after all the boats and ships. Sarah kept telling me, and I've already forgotten. But looking up the steeple as well, we weren't at the very, very top. Even that was quite a lot. Like, I'm pretty good with heights normally, but I was like, whoa, this feels very high. Looking over the edge was a bit like, I just couldn't get over how high it was. I should look it up and see how high it is, but I won't do that right now because I'm telling you about it all. So you could go all the way around the outside. Now, I extended the Action 6 on the selfie stick, as you can see here, lowered it over the edge to try and get a good view. And didn't look over the edge while I was doing it because I thought I don't want to faint off collapse. But then I just, if that's the view there, so I'm extending it and then just leaning it over the edge, and you can see that building in front to the right is where we were. That top bit, obviously, had the roof done since 1150. Obviously, I think a lot of it's been renovated and done. And yeah, there's the Stena Line ship on the right. I don't know what work they were doing on. There's a couple of guys there on a cherry picker. You can see them a little bit closer here. Obviously in like some sort of hazmat suits, whether they're painting or I don't know what they're doing, but obviously very busy. And so you can do a full lap around the top. It feels a little bit odd. It feels like you've stood on like lead flashing and it's going to just collapse. But again, there's no signs, they're just very lax with you. They just kind of let you do what you want. Obviously there's railings there's like with spikes on them. They don't say don't climb on the other outside of it. Not that anyone in the right mind would do that. But yeah, it's just a shame it was so blustery. But one of the advantages of this was, because it was so blustery and wet, is no one else was there. I think as we got to the end of the tour, or the end of when we got back to the start, there was a couple of people and a little dog wanting to just get involved. And you can pay for tours. We like to take our time. And again, as we're coming down the steps now, the million stairs, you can see loads more people's names from the submarine disaster. But it's just, it's a spiral staircase that just goes on forever, ever and ever. It's so well kept, and the brickwork. I mean, obviously, this St Mary's Chapel isn't from 1150. This isn't 800 or 900 years old, but it's pretty old. But it's so well kept; it hasn't rotted or anything. Now, obviously, all the donations and everything go to the upkeep and everything. So if you can put some money in, then by all means do. But yeah, I definitely recommend it, and I will come back again. I tell you what would be good. There's that mechanism again in the original clock tower. They'll probably turn the faces of the clocks. Getting the drone up and just doing a bit of a loop. I am a member of a drone group on Facebook, and they did say that they've gone all around this area and around the the steeple and stuff. You've obviously got to be careful with rules and regs with these things. Now I have got everything that you need for the size drone I've got. I am going to get more qualifications as well, because I'm thinking again a slightly bigger one, but I digress. So yeah, looking up there, again, looking up from the bottom, I just wish you had that hollow bit all the way up the middle so you could see it right to the top. It's such a big area, it's amazing. So this was the bit, I don't know if I filmed it on the way up, that's the second bit. The first bit as I came in, yeah, I think I did clock that. And right down the bottom here is where all the main submarine info is. And you can read all about it in here. You can read it online. I had a quick look for this video. There's plenty of information on ChatGPT on the internet that just tells you all about it. But yeah, really well kept. Just a shame about the weather. We go outside, back into the drizzle again, and I think we go around to the right. And there's quite a few big bits of... all these graves here, by the way, are from the original monks, the founders and stuff. So that's always quite interesting. I do like a graveyard. I don't know why. I don't mean that morbid. I just find it fascinating. All the lives these people led, and what they did, and how they helped everyone. And they're just there now for infinity, laid to rest. It's really not creepy. It's kind of peaceful. That building in front, I'm not entirely sure what goes on in there. We did see the door open later and there was somebody chilling in there. It was a little bit odd. So whether that's part of something that you're not supposed to go around or not, I don't know. But yeah, we just had a good mooch. I had a mooch around this bit right at the start of the video, actually. Because I just wanted to, I'm going to say, get my money's worth. I wanted to see everything. So yeah, it's quite a big site, really. And when Sarah recommended it, I thought, yeah, I'm up for it. I always like a museum or a tour or anything like that. And I wouldn't say we rushed it. We kind of took our time. But by the time we left, I think it was just a case, yeah, that's where we were, right at the top of there. See, it doesn't look that big for me. It's just like, yeah, normal sort of house height, bit of a chip. But no, it's pretty impressive when you're up there. And round to the right here, there's a couple of bits of original stonework that's... Sarah thought it had fallen and landed perfectly. I think it was placed there. Because look, it's all neatly laid out on the gravel. And that wall there, I don't know what it's made of or how it's covered, but it just looks like someone's built it very recently. I don't know how they managed to get it or keep it so intact and so well. So, and looking at that model at the start of the video, they obviously had a wooden version of all this with all the roofs on, and they knew which room was what and where the infirmary was and where the places where people stayed was. But you can look at all these. I look at the top there with that piece that we're looking at there with all the moss on it. Looks like it belonged just above us. Now, I don't think it's fallen directly down. I think they have placed them. Sarah keeps looking up and saying, look, that bit came from there, that bit came from there. You can see the sort of places where they would have been, but I don't think they neatly fell onto the gravel. They've just been put there so you can have a look at them. But yeah, that sort of stone masonry blows my mind how they did it all those years ago. And they didn't have any real machines. It was just like chisels and blokes on planks. So yeah, this is us wrapping up a little bit now. I think the rain had eased off a little bit here, but look at the black brick. That's the place where we were. You can look at the size of that door. You get an idea that's bigger than a normal door. So it is higher than a house, but I just couldn't get over how big it was. But yeah, I'll definitely go back on a sunny day. It opens at 10 AM, I think, this time of year. But it's just a bit blustery on top. So if you do come out here and it is a bit wet and windy, make sure you wrap up well. Do you know what I mean? So I think we just do one final lap around the sort of inside-outside, because this is technically outside because there's no roof on it. But you could tell at one point it was inside. So yeah, just doing a couple of panning shots around here. I don't think that cone was original. I don't think that cone is from 1150. We went into this little doorway here to see if there was anything else. I was expecting a bit of a stairway or a cellar or a crypt, but no, it's just a dodgy corridor. I imagine that monks probably smoked in this corridor back in the day. It looks like a little secret smoker's den, doesn't it? So as we go across this courtyard, this is a bit of the graveyard again, back towards this door. That's the way we sort of came out originally after the little tour from the lady inside. You can see that the doggy and some people ready to do an actual guided tour. Little gift shop there, and that's the bit we did at the start in there. So we just make our way out of this door. We just barge through the middle of this little tour and apologise because we feel like we're getting right in everybody's way. And that's it. We're done. So yeah, well worth a visit, really enjoyed it, and we'll definitely go back. Thanks for watching all the way to the end if you did, which you didn't. Bye.